Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into something pretty cool, how machines are actually learning to read the language of the financial markets. We're talking about turning news, company reports, and even tweets into real, actionable trading signals. And it's all thanks to something called natural language processing.
So, when you think about finance, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For most of us, it's just a sea of numbers, right? Stock prices, PE ratios, quarterly returns. It's easy to think it's all just a big math problem.
But here's the twist. The reality? It's a lot messier. Markets are driven by human stories. They're all about sentiment, breaking news, whispers of a merger, a CEO's bold promise. It's not just the numbers that move the needle, it's the narratives behind them. The constant, overwhelming flood of information that shapes how we all feel about a company.
And that leads us to the million-dollar question, right? How on earth do you take something as chaotic and, let's be honest, as messy as human language and quantify it? How do you turn all that noise, all those articles, posts, and reports into something structured, something a computer can understand so you can find a real financial edge?
Well, the answer is a really powerful branch of AI called natural language processing, or NLP for short. You can think of it as a translator, a bridge that connects our messy human language to the clean, logical world of computers. In the financial world, its whole job is to drink from that fire hose of information, to monitor, filter, and analyze huge volumes of text in real time, looking for those tiny, hidden patterns that a person could easily miss.
Okay, that makes sense. But where is all of this text actually coming from? I mean, we've got to feed the machine, right? And this is super important because, any AI model is only as good as the data you give it. In finance, this river of text really flows from three main channels.
So first up, you've got your mainstream media. We're talking about the big names like Bloomberg and Reuters. The quality here is top-notch. You know it's been fact-checked, but there can be a bit of a delay. It's reliable, but maybe not the fastest. Then you have primary sources. This is the good stuff, straight from the horse's mouth. Official company filings with the SEC, for instance. It's direct, it's unfiltered, and it can be predictable, like a quarterly earnings report, or a total surprise, like a sudden merger announcement. And finally, you have the Wild West, social media. Think Twitter, financial blogs. The information here is, and I love this phrase, blisteringly fast. But, and this is a big but, you have to wade through a ton of noise to find any real signal.
So, with all these different sources feeding into the system, how does a computer even start to make sense of it all? I mean, you can't just shovel a bunch of raw headlines and tweets into an algorithm and expect magic to happen. Before any of the smart analysis can begin, all that messy text has to be cleaned up, standardized, and put into a nice, neat structure.
Now, for anyone out there who's ever worked with traditional databases, this is going to sound really familiar. You can basically think of this whole process as extract, transform, load. ETL, but for text. Instead of pulling from neat database tables, we're extracting from chaotic articles and tweets. But the goal is exactly the same: get the data clean and ready for analysis.
So what does that cleaning pipeline actually look like? Well, it usually has a few key steps. First up is tokenization. That's just a fancy word for breaking a sentence down into its individual words, or tokens. Simple enough. Next, we do stop word removal. This is where we toss out all the common, fluffy words like the, is, and, a, words that don't really carry any specific meaning. And then there's stemming. This is a clever one. It reduces words down to their root form. So words like acquiring, acquired, and acquires all just become the root word acquire. This helps the computer understand that they're all talking about the same basic action.
All right, so now our text is all cleaned up. We've got a nice list of important, meaningful words, but we've just hit another huge wall. Computers don't speak English, they speak math. They need numbers. So the big question now is, how do we turn these words into numerical features that a machine learning model can actually work with?
Well, there are a couple of ways to do this, and it really shows how far the tech has come. The old school method is called bag of words. It basically just treats every word as a totally separate thing. So buy might get assigned the number 52 and acquire gets 102. The computer has absolutely no clue that these two words mean almost the same thing. They're just two different numbers. But the modern approach, it's so much smarter. It's called distributed representation. Instead of just giving each word an ID, it maps words onto a kind of complex, multidimensional map. And on this map, words with similar meanings, like buy and acquire, are placed really close together. Suddenly, the model doesn't just see words, it starts to understand relationships and context. It's a total game changer.
So to quickly recap that whole journey from a news headline to a trading signal, we start with a messy pile of unstructured text. We push it through that pre-processing pipeline to clean it all up. Then we use those advanced methods to turn the clean words into meaningful numbers, or vectors. And what comes out the other end? Beautiful structured data, actionable insights, things like sentiment scores, risk alerts, or even forecasts that can predict where the market might be heading next.
Hey, if you found this explainer helpful, it would mean a lot if you'd hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. It really helps us keep making them.
And all of this leaves us with one pretty big question to chew on. If an AI can read, understand, and react to every single article, filing, and tweet the second it's published, what does that mean for the future of the human financial analyst? Something to think about. Thanks so much for watching.